What's going on, traders? Welcome back to another live stream here. If you're new, my name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. Before we get started on this fresh Monday morning, beautiful August 18th, make sure you view us on the screen. Trading is risky. Most traders do lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I do not provide financial advice. As I'm making sure we are streaming, we look good here. Nothing I say or do is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. I'm just an idiot here yapping on YouTube for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research, make your own decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content, like Top 1 Futures, code RDF, Bookmap, and others. Want to get this mic right? Hang on, guys. Can't be unbiased if I stand to make money. Let's hop on the charts. 9:30, just a hair past 9:30 as we are opening up. We're going to be looking at the same damn 7-pack of straight to funded Sim Pro accounts with Top 1 Futures. Gonna see if we can't be working these bad boys back into some profit, back towards a payout, back towards a live account. That's gonna be the game plan. We are looking good. What's going on, chat? Good morning. Good morning. Ralph, good morning from Kick. Y'all on YouTube, good morning, good morning. Jess, Chuck, Ignacio, Mohammed, Andre, Andrew, and Ralph again. What's going on? What is happening, chat? Feeling good on this Monday, man. Feel like we're off to a nice, fresh start. Here's what I wanted to tell you guys this morning. This is what I wanted to tell you guys, because I had to actually Google this. I had to ask ChatGPT, do a little bit of math. We have less than 100 trading days left in this year. It's halfway through August 18th. We're coming towards the end of summer. We got 95 days, including today. 95 trading days, and I think 2 or 3 of those are partial closes for the futures market. If we're not including the week in between Christmas and New Year's, which is just a absolutely terrible week to trade, in my humble opinion, one of the worst ways to end your year off trading, we got less than 90 days, man. You know, with these half closes. So my thought process there, me telling you that and reminding you guys of that is, it's time to focus up, man. It's time to focus up. We don't get 365 days in the year to trade. We get like 253, 252, 254. I've seen that number bounced around. About 250 days. It's not to say that time's running out, you don't have time to learn how to trade. This is the long game. But if you want to be working towards your goals, what are you doing day in and day out to be working towards those goals? Are you reviewing your trades? Are you journaling a little bit in the most basic way, which we could talk about? Or are you just YOLOing prop firm evals, right? And month after month, you're just ending up negative, and you wait for the big news event and you just start trading and you're either going to hit max profit or blow the account, right? Or are we actually thinking about risk management? Are we taking a look at our last couple weeks of trading and saying, okay, what went well? What went poorly? Why did things go well? Why did things go poorly? How can I do a little bit more of what's working, a little bit less of what's not, right? The opportunity's never been greater, man. We used to have tens of thousands of dollars to buy a seat to be able to go and trade. Used to have $25K in an account to avoid a pattern day trader rule, whatever that rule is in stocks. You can get started for free, man. So this is my words of encouragement to you. You don't have many days left in the year to actually trade. Focus up. Make the most of those days. Not to say push it to hit some goal, to make some money, to turn profitable. None of that stuff, man. This is the long game. But what are you doing every single day to work towards hitting your goals? That's the mindset that I want to come in with this morning. Good morning, chat, as more and more people are rolling in. What's up, Luciano, Ange, Cart, this guy, Yassine? What is going on, chat? What's going on? So, that's my Monday motivation for you guys. Have a sense of urgency. Have some intent to what you do. And this is easier said than done, guys. I would be lying if I said every day I woke up and I traded, I cared mindfully about everything that I did and I moved with intention and I didn't move with a sense of laziness and degeneracy, right? It's easier said than done. It's a good reminder for myself as well as you guys, right? That's the game plan. Try to articulate this stuff to you, what's in my mind that I'm attempting to do, right? But we're not perfect over here. Far from it. All right. Let's jump onto the charts. That's enough mindset and psychology to start the day off. Let's jump onto the charts. Monday motivation. We're looking strong, guys. We're looking strong. Okay, I can zoom out a lot on this. I can zoom in a lot on the daily chart. this is looking like an uptrend to me. If you say, Zach, this is a downtrend, I don't know that, I don't know. Maybe we need to hit the eye doctor or something, but this is not a downtrend, okay, guys? If I zoom out even more, like way more, this is not a downtrend, okay? If I zoom in, right? I zoom in a lot, like just showing this is not a downtrend, okay? This is looking strong. We're showing strength. As we zoom in closer, we look at the last week of trading, the last couple days, right? It is Monday, so we're looking through last week. A little bit of chop, right? A little bit of consolidation day over day, okay? And then we zoom in even further, coming from that daily chart. I talked about this in Discord, wanted to, really frame some context of where we're at on the higher time frames, the daily all the way dropping down to the 15-minute and then the 1 minute, carrying some of that, what the heck we got going on higher time frames. This is looking strong, right? Right now, overnight session, we sold off. So we are looking weak right here. Came all the way down, tested Friday's low, broke down below it, came all the way down over here, tested the low from the 14th, and we have since pushed up. Back above VWAP. This is looking strong. Gun to my head, which I don't have, and I haven't had yet, and I hope I never have. I'm long, right? Looking for longs. On the 15-minute, zoomed out. If we start to come down below, back through these 50s, 64 50s, I'm going to be cautious, and I'd be considering short, right? We reject off this VWAP. We really can't find buyers and continue through. I think we're got a chance to come back down here, retest one of these levels, potentially be looking short. But first, up until that, I'm looking long all the way. I'd like for this to give me a chance to get in long here. We are breaking above VWAP. I don't like to jump in the first 15 minutes. If you guys know me, I really don't like to get involved in the first 15 minutes, especially not on a Monday, especially not on a no news Monday. But overall, this is showing strength, right? From higher time frames to lower time frames. I'd say if we continue to sell off, we crack overnight low, and we actually show some sellers down there, meaning price continues lower, we see some volume, then maybe we could be looking at shorts. But I'm not looking bearish right off the rip on this. So if I take a look at Bookmap, that's my analysis, my top-down analysis all the way into the open, right? Right now we're sitting at VWAP. We got, higher highs and higher lows getting put into VWAP. We're cracking above right now, 9:37 a.m. I'm going to give this at least until 9:45 a.m. before I'm hitting the buy or sell button. I also talked about a couple things in Discord. If you're not in the free Discord, the link is pinned. I wrote a monologue, and I'm going to try to do more of that. Also had Alan, a couple of the people really share some detailed stuff. Two to three areas I'm really looking to improve in. And the third one I didn't talk about. One, widening out. Widening out stop loss and take profit and putting on full risk. More mindful about my entries, patiently waiting, executing, full risk, lower frequency of trades here on ES. Run it wide. That's what's working really well for me. I'm going to do more of what's working, less of what's not working. Second piece, look at just what I did. Look at that top-down analysis. Start with the high time frames, drop down to the low time frames. Bring that context with you. Don't carry a fixed bias where you're losing all flexibility in your ability to go short or long based on what's happening during the day. But understand, if we are in a ripping uptrend, which we have been over the last couple months, you're going to get cooked in the long run on shorts, and you're going to make money long. And that's what my data shows me. I almost can't lose on longs, and I almost can't win on shorts. That's an over-exaggeration, but my win percentage, when I look at the last few months of data, which we all can, is significantly higher on the long side. That should be obvious, right? Should be really obvious why. Zoom out, look at the trend, okay? We are making more, we are pushing higher day over day. We are trending to the upside. There's more ticks moving higher in price than there are to the downside, okay? Third piece, which I really didn't mention too much in Discord, but something that I've reviewed, some of the trades that I've had a little bit better luck with and just a little bit better data on. This is, kind of just a more discretionary, subjective way to interpret this, is if I'm going to look long or short off the extremes, give it just a little bit more. Hesitate a little bit more. Wait for a little bit more confirmation. Wait for that liquidity to be taken. Wait for buyers or sellers to step in, and then be a little bit late to the party. And conversely, if I'm going to take something across the middle, which is a slang term that I'm talking around VWAP, around an area of high volume, execute nice and quickly there. You often don't have a lot of time to think, as we're kind of what we're doing right now, as we are, pushing back up through that volume weighted average price or retesting that volume weighted average price, for example, right? If I'm entering maybe long and a pull back down after we start to break above VWAP, got to be real quick there. If you hesitate, you really, your risk is already wide, right? Because we're in the kind of the middle of whatever we got going on with price action and market structure. You hesitate there, you wait a little bit there, not going to go well. So a lot of those trades play really nicely, the across the middle trades, for lack of a better term, but got to execute quickly. So those are some notes coming into today, right? I like to talk about that, articulate that, not so you can try to copy it or do what I'm doing, but to show you the iterative process that I try to use to get better as a trader. I'm constantly trying to improve, right? I don't think I'm the best. I don't have it figured out. I don't have some magic system or strategy, right? I think I've got some juice, but you could decide that for yourself by watching me trade live every damn day, most of the time, 2 times per day. But I'm always trying to get better, right? Even if you're fantastic, I think every day you need to be taking steps towards getting better. Otherwise, you're going to be getting worse. Somebody else is going to be getting better. So that's some of my thought process coming into the morning. And I'm sure you guys are chatting it up. I'll read chat in just a minute. Want to give you guys the full analysis on this Monday. Taking a look at Bookmap. We have some interesting stuff setting up. Quite a bit above price. We come down here to these 60s. Where are these orders? That kind of came on after we opened up. We had quite a bit sitting above price before we opened. It looked like we wanted to go grab this, but one thing I will note, we are rising on a declining CVD. I don't love the word divergence because people just overuse it, but this would be considered a cumulative volume delta divergence compared against actual price movement. This is a reading, right? Delta, difference between buy and sell volume, displayed in this little tool over here, the number, and actually the, whatever you call this, a line chart, I guess. Not a histogram, line chart. So interesting. We've got some sell volume coming in, even though we've drifted higher. I'm interested to see if we come back down around these 60s, which it looks like we might want to, maybe to the 50s. If I'm going to take something off the extreme, like I just talked about, I'm going to try to give it a second. Try to hesitate a little bit, give it a little bit more time. Not hesitate, but just refine my entry. And then look for a pullback. And what that could look like is, on another day where I'm aggressively entering right here at the 60s, maybe I wait a little bit, wait for this to get taken. We start to push back up towards VWAP, through VWAP. I take the long there, right? Things like that. The 50s right here, 64.50s. Maybe that's get taken. We start to look for a push to the upside. So that's kind of my thought process here. If we start to push to the upside, we got plenty of levels of liquidity to come from. Nothing like insane standing out on me on this chart. We are obviously thicker to the upside all the way up through the 6,550s, right? Here in this ES contract that we're looking at. To the downside, definitely got some that came on after right at market open, the 60s here. This has been on the book all the way down to the 50s, right around a key round psychological number. Don't really even need Bookmap to tell you that there's probably liquidity there. But I'm going to see if we start to sell off or push to the upside here. Nothing insane standing out. The negative CVD is definitely something interesting. It's really not showing us that we have a ton of buy volume. We're getting ready to explode, at least the way that I read CVD, the way that I use it. So still in wait and see mode. Coming up on my 945. Framing some ideas here. And again, I know you guys are chatting it up. I'm trying to make sure I give you some solid analysis right off the open. I'd be interested to see what happens around the 60s. Back down below prior day low, right where we found a lot of buyers here. I'd be interested to see if we come down farther than that, the 50s. Be interested to see what happens down here, right? If we push right back up through VWAP, I'm going to look long on this. If we push right back up through VWAP, I think we got a chance to push long. I don't love. Let me rephrase that. I'm not going to get long right through VWAP here. I don't love that we have liquidity right down below prior day low that's not taken. I really would want to see this taken first at a bare minimum. There's definitely a trade where we just take it long right through the open, but that's not my setup. It's definitely not my setup. Not with a negative CVD, not with a couple orders down here, a couple stacks of orders down here. I think we could blast off from here, but I'm going to wait for a pullback down, take everybody out. Maybe that's getting long in pre-market. a nice sweep down into this 60s, maybe even lower before a potential long. That's my thought process here. And then I'd like to see it back above VWAP and look for longs. That's my play, chat. Now, morning, David. What's up? What's going on? What's going on, chat? Let me pin this one. What's up, Sandy? What are you doing, man? What's going on, Sandy? You guys don't have to do that, man. Austin Silver yelled at me to turn the whatever the heck that thing is called, Superfan. Sandy, thank you. I appreciate that. You guys don't have to do that, man. I run this stuff free 99. There's options to support here, but you definitely don't have to do that. I greatly appreciate it. Y'all are awesome. Good morning. Good morning. Nathan Kingpin, what's up? Value area low to value area high. Okay. You only trade S&P and also the NASDAQ. I do, or also on the NASDAQ. I do trade the NASDAQ, but I really prefer ES. ES is my bread and butter. I've been focused on it for a long period of time. I run some super aggressive scalping on NASDAQ, which I'm likely backing off. But I do like ES. Good luck for the week. Yes, sir. Dwayne, what's up? Biblical, what's up? Carlos, what's up? What's going on, y'all? What is going on, chat? Appreciate you guys being here. Welcome to the show. As we come back up around session high here, getting ready to break this 15-minute opening range high. Like we talked about, not going to jump directly through this. Not going to jump into this thing long just yet. Got some liquidity down below. I'd like a sweep down below. I don't know that we get it today. This looks strong out of the gate. We did get a jump in that CVD, but still negative. Still pretty negative. Like I said, right off the open, if I had to take a trade, it's long. But I could see this maybe being all we need to do for the morning, and we're not going to get a pullback down, a sweep of this Friday's low in, during NYSE. We might just start to drift higher. Taking a look at news for the week. This is from forexfactory.com. We have really a no news Monday here. We got nothing. Later into the week, we got FOMC minutes. We have some FOMC members speaking. Unemployment on Thursday. That's definitely going to be a market mover. And then we kind of got a lot on that Thursday. Manufacturing PMI, existing home sales. This will kind of jack up our morning session. And then Fed Powell speaking. Ooh, Jackson Hole is this week also. Yeah, that could kick some things around later into the week. So, yeah, not too much into the open, right? Beginning of this week. Definitely not too much in the beginning of this week. So, I'm not looking for any massive explosive moves, right? We don't have to do anything crazy on a Monday. Yeah, this looks like we want to go, man. Back above VWAP. I'm interested to see what happens here. Would have liked a little wick down here, take out the 60s, and then a pullback up like this. I'm getting long. That'd be an entry for me. But this looks like we want to at least go from here. Interested to see if we reject, we start chopping around down here. But this is showing some strength for sure. Let's see. Sandy, you're awesome. I appreciate that. 350Ks just passed to XFAs. Nathan, nice, dude. Very nice. Got a 3-pack of XFAs. That's a great spot to be in. A great spot to be in. Yeah, I really don't like this short today, guys. I really don't love a short on this at all. I think we can start to push and drift. Oh, man. None of this was enough. A pullback down here would have been beautiful. Beautiful into 945 and then a push up. Gonna have to wait and see. Gonna have to wait and see on this one. I'm tempted to run a 15-minute side-by-side. I talked about widen out. Maybe we'll play with that right now. So if you're going to run 2 charts side-by-side, we actually just look at this as we're waiting for the market to start to give me a setup. If you're going to run 2 charts side-by-side, which you're about to see me do here, or multiple charts, this is how you do it in Project X. You come over here to select a layout, and you can just see I went from 1 layout to 2, right? You can actually run different symbols if you wanted to. You would need to unlink everything, but I'm going to run the same symbol. I would just want to run a 15-minute chart over here on this side. Why might I want to do that? Today, this just isn't giving me a lot of information. Even zoomed out on the 1 minute, like super duper zoomed out, it's just showing me, the overnight session with a whole lot of chop, like not a whole lot. And if I want to keep into consideration, maybe not even half and half like this, but maybe just kind of over here in the corner, a whole lot more data, right? I can do that zoomed out here with a 15-minute chart. It's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. So I do like that. And I think I'm going to leave that for today. Little higher time frame view. Let me zoom out so I can fix VWAP here. Little higher time frame view and a little lower time frame view, right? If you're going to do that, one note for sure is to do what I just did. Scrunch the chart all the way out, zoom all the way out, and then go ahead and reset. And this way you have VWAP back where it's supposed to be. If you swap time frames, if you remove where the VWAP is anchored to, it ends up in a very different place, which I don't like. It's a Project X thing. It's weird, specific to them. So yeah, we can run this like this. So here we go. Wouldn't be too happy taking a breakout trade. Back down through VWAP here. Ooh, showing some serious sellers, right? Negative CVD. This is what I was worried about. Not wanting to jump in long here. Not saying that this just wasn't enough to come down lower. Let's see if we break down through prior day low again, go and tap, get down below these 60s, and if we start to see some continuation there, I'm going to be cautious here, guys. This is cautious for sure. But this is why we wait and see. It's no news Monday. Kind of just chopping around so far. Nothing too crazy. Don't want to jump the gun on this. I'm just playing with my 2 chart setups now. Yeah, I don't really like the 30. It's not my preferred time frame. I like the 15. This just kind of doesn't give me enough. All right. Let's see. Let's see what we get here. See what the market's got for me today. Can you guys see this? My face is over here. Yeah, I'd have to push it up like that. This way you guys can see it. That's cool. All right. Let's see what we got. John 1024. Long position. John's long. Nice. You don't have to say it that many times, brother. We see it. Rocking 2 more. Going for 5 and then copy trading 3 of them. Nice, Nate. Very nice. So it's a great spot to be in if you have multiple, funded prop firm accounts. I will say, I think they can start to be a lot to manage, right? You can kind of it can get a little bit overwhelming. But from a mindset and psychology perspective, who's going to trade better? The dude that's trading one individual 50K and has 4 brand new on backup past, or the person who's trading just 1, right? Probably the person who has 4 on backup. Not that you're going to not care about them, but you're going to have a lot more risk-free mindset. You're able to have backup. You don't have to worry so much about making crazy progress. And I think copy trading batches of them, if you're going to copy trade, kind of like what I'm doing right now. I've got a 7-pack of straight to sim funded pros. I have 3 50Ks that I trade individually. So I have multiple sets of prop firm accounts. I think that can be helpful, right? If you're super confident and you want to just copy trade everything together, that's cool too. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but even copy trading in batches, I see a lot of traders do that. Even if they're going to copy trade, is solid. So great position to be in, Nate. Hell yeah. Rajito, yeah, looking for some smaller green days and smaller payouts across multiple. Yeah. That's what I've made a lot of videos about that. That's what copy trading can help you out, can do. But again, you are putting all of your eggs in one basket. But the thought process is, if you're going to make it to, let's say, a $3,000 payout, let's say like $1,000 payout, right? To do that in one account versus to do a $1,000 payout across 5 accounts is very different, right? In 5 accounts, you can size down considerably. You can take way more time, right? You can allow yourself way more room to work and let the copy trading do the heavy lifting for you, right? You can really utilize smaller size because you have 3, 5, 10 times the amount of actual leverage going on. And when you make it to that payout, it's 3, 5, 10 times. As a whole, I think you should really look overall at things, what you're doing in any one individual account, but that's definitely an approach. Definitely an approach, right? Leveraging copy trading, not to say I want to make so much more money, but I'm going to size down, right? Take my sweet ass time, because when I get to a payout, it's going to be 5 times the size, if we're talking Top Step, for example, with copy trading up to 5 accounts. Same with Top 1 futures, right? Maybe instead of trading, 150K, you're going to copy trade 3, but you're going to trade it with 3 times as small a size. You're going to take 3 times as long, because if and when you work towards a payout, that payout is times 3. That's kind of the thought process. Many different ways you can go about that. Watching this market closely, guys. I'm watching this market closely. I still think we're coming down lower, but buyers are not wanting us to get through this level. Really holding this up here on the 1-minute chart, right? We have, pre-market, got some lows here. It's definitely an area of consolidation. I'm curious to see if we blast through this high here. I'd consider a long play, but I think we're coming down first just based on everything that I'm looking at. I think we're coming down first. I think we're coming through this liquidity that we got about 155 on the book, right below price, right here, right below these lows. And then if we drop that, maybe down to the 58s, somewhere down in here near this overnight low level. Like I said, below the 50s, below the 64.50s, way down here, we could really get dicey. Why? There's nothing down here looking left. You can zoom out on the 15-minute, but there's nothing down there looking left. But before that, I'm long. Before that, I'm looking long. So let's see. Let's see what happens. I think we could get some momentum down here, guys. Could get some volatility. Been dialing in myself, focus on exactly that, slowing down monthly payment. Yeah. Slow down, guys. Slow down. Focus on the trading. Okay? That's the thought process. Stop looking at Twitter and Instagram and how much everybody's making, $20,000 payouts and all this random BS. Just don't do that. Just focus on your trading. Focus on becoming a better trader every day. Okay? That's how you get better. Every time I stray from that, not good. Not good. Appreciate you guys hopping on. We got a bunch of people on. Waiting patiently for a setup. Waiting patiently. Seeing if we can't get some motion here in ES. I'm looking a lot for longs. Break 60s. We fall. Yeah. I would say, here we go. We're coming through some liquidity right here. I'd say the 64.50s. Yeah, here we go. Right back down towards prior day low. Had some liquidity pulled down there at the 58s. We're not terribly thin on Bookmap until we get down to the 64.50s, which would be way down here. I'm interested to see what we do here. This is a pretty interesting rejection around VWAP and a turn back down. I'm staying patient on this, guys. I really don't have a setup yet. I really don't. Want to see what happens as we dip down here, as we dip our toe down here. I don't have a short continuation play from down here, although this could get kind of ugly. I really do like this. I like this to the long side. I'd like to see buyers, like I talked about earlier, step in somewhere down off of one of these levels, and I wouldn't mind being late to the party for a potential move back up above VWAP. But so far, here's our pullback down into these levels. Buyers tried it a couple times, held it here. Now we're breaking down. Prior day low, right? Obvious level. This is why I mark out some key objective levels, market generated information, MGI. I want to see if we crack this and head down towards overnight low really fast. I think we could get a really aggressive movement down to the 50s. That could look pretty sketchy. If we got down here, I'd buy it. If we got down here quickly, I'd buy it very aggressively, not waiting for buyers. Because that would allow me, a 10, 15, 20 point stop loss. And if we rip through that, I'm dead wrong. And it's just going to be a gnarly bearish day. Nope, not yet. Here we go. Buyer stepping in, 10 a.m. Had a little bit of, what do we have dropping? A little bit of news dropping. Housing market index, that's like nothing. It's not really much concern. Interesting down here. Let's see what the market's got for us today. We had some buyers step in off this prior day low. I like this long, guys. I've been waiting. Obviously, I've said this like 37 times. I really do like it long. I don't know if we have to come lower. Rising CVD. I don't think we do. I think we might come through this.
Order filled.
I'm taking it from up here, guys. I'm going to take this from up here, and I'm going to run a nice wide stop on it today. That's going to be my game plan. Let me just adjust this. I don't know what risk management I had put in here, but I like this long. We have buyers step right back in. We got a nice rising cumulative volume delta. We really don't have a lot of orders down below this. If we have to come all the way through the overnight low level, yeah, I'd have to run. I got to run this really wide. Got to run this really wide. That's a stupid wide stop loss. It's a 20 point stop loss. It's wide today. I'm long, guys. I'm long one from 64.66. I want to see this start to push to the upside. Back above this 15-minute candle, all the way back up towards overnight high, putting in a bullish movement on the day. Trying the longs. Again, looking for a wide stop loss, wider take profit. That's going to be my play on this. If we fail and we start to come lower, I think I'm just dead wrong. Like we come back down below this low, into the low 50s. I think we get a gnarly move, potentially all the way back down here, right? This is the 15-minute chart. I just swapped over, zoomed out. Where are we going here? Do I think we wick down here and then come back up? We could. All right, we could. We rejected VWAP a little bit. But buyers are continuing to try it up here, so this is going to be my play for today. This is really going to be my play for today. We come down through this low and, and come all the way down past my stop, right? The 64.46s. I think I'm absolutely dead wrong. This is a gnarly sell-off. We are getting 20-plus points from VWAP, and I think we're headed all the way down to the downside. And I just have just a poor read today. Not a poor read, but just that's the movement. We're just not going to play out to the upside. So I really do have to run this long, though. I'm just articulating my risk management. I see we're starting to move in my direction a little bit, but this is a longer hold, right? If I'm going to put, close to $1,000 on the line, going to need a larger movement out of this. I think we could potentially come all the way up here, which would generate a nice trade. So that's going to be my play. I really don't want to go right here. I really don't want to go right here with a stop or here with a stop or here with a stop. I just don't think that's a good spot to have it. I wouldn't need a lot out of this market if I went with something like this, right? But that's not the thesis of this. It's allow it to chop around, allow it to come back down if it has to, allow sellers to try to take this thing lower. But through the 50s, I'm dead wrong. And being a couple points below that makes me comfortable. So that's my trade thesis. And one of the reasons I'm going to run a 15-minute chart on the side so we can watch this stuff play out on higher time frames as well. That's my trade thesis. That's my stop at 64.46 and a quarter. I don't think I'm going to play with that one anymore. Let me reset this. Reasons for the trade, right? We found buyers off of prior day low. Very simple. We swept that level. Market has to continue to chop back and forth. I got a way wide stop. We can dance around, do whatever. Maybe it ends as a partial loss, a small win later into the day. But I'm looking at this for buyers to continue to push this thing back above VWAP, hold up here, continue through this high, and then come back towards overnight high, right? For a nice trade on this. Looking bullish overall, looking at higher time frames, entering on the lower time frames after I see what I needed to see. A sweep down below this level, breaking 15-minute opening range low to the downside, and then push to the upside, right? Now it's just a matter of waiting, see what the market's got for me. Some more market-generated information that will come out. Something that what in the world? That can't be right. Are these not linking now? Sorry, guys. I was going to say the next thing that comes out, really the last thing that I start to look at, two levels that I'm happy to mark, is going to be initial balance high and low. The first 1 hour of the trading session, 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 10:30 a.m. Eastern. We're not there yet, so I'm not going to go ahead and mark these completely. We'll kind of just leave them wide for right now, knowing that that's coming up. But something you can do, which you just saw me do, is you can hide things on your chart. So just to show you that, which I think can be helpful. If you, for example, want to mark IB high and low every day, and you don't want to just delete them and have to rewrite them and whatever it is, you can click on it and you can hide it. Right? You can literally just hide it. And then it goes away, and how you would get it back up on your chart is coming back into the object tree and then unhiding it like that. Maybe that's useful, maybe not. But yeah, see if we get a break to the upside out of IB high or low. There are some strong statistics around that. There's the whole, successful auction, failed auction piece. I like the statistics around initial balance high and low. They're very strong. Even to the 11 o'clock time frame is really strong. And what the stats say, essentially, which should be, reasonably easily to explain, if we break the IB high, the first hours trading range, we break that to the upside, we typically do not come down and break the downside. We typically extend to the upside as well by a decent margin. If we break the downside, the exact opposite is true. We typically do not come back through the initial balance high, right? It's a very strong stat. It's over the 75% mark. If you look at the first hour and a half from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m., which I've looked at a little bit but haven't talked about too much on it, it's very strong. Now, is that an edge in itself? Does that help you completely? No, it doesn't, right? You can't just buy long at IB high with a stop below IB low. It's a huge stop loss, right? It's typically a big range, and that's just not an edge in itself. But knowing the way that price traditionally moves, the patterns that form, right? Basic pattern recognition around certain levels, key ranges can be helpful, right? So IB high and low for a long explanation. So it's potential targets on this, guys. As you guys, if you haven't watched me before, maybe you don't know, I typically don't run a fixed take profit. If I'm going to step away from the charts, if I'm just going to let the trade run, I'll throw something in there. But I'd be looking above overnight high. I want to see a movement up here. I want to see a trend form. I want to see us continue the upside. I'd be looking all the way up around overnight high. Now, it's a pretty wide trade, right? A lot of stuff can happen between now and then. So, we got room to allow for pullbacks. We got choppiness, a whole bunch of different stuff to happen. A lot could change between now and then. And, that's going to be dependent on what this looks like for a target. But for the most part, going to be looking for, a larger movement to the upside. Looking for, we're talking about some different stuff here. 4-hour moving averages on. 4-hour moving averages here, the 50. Then we got the 1 hour 200 on the NAS. My key areas to get through. Got you. You streaming Power Hour this afternoon? I am streaming Power Hour this afternoon. Daniel will be back on for 3 o'clock. I'm going to try to do every day. Not tomorrow is what I marked in Discord. Not tomorrow is what I marked in Discord. John was calling out something here on ES. Thanks for sharing, John. I missed exactly what it was, but if you want to like specifically call out your guys' trades, here's what I would encourage you to do. You can say that, you know, you're getting long and stuff, or getting short, or looking long. Like you could share whatever you want to share. But if you want to share like detailed stuff right off the bat, give an entry price with your stop loss and your take profit, and then trade management as it's happening in real time. That's the way to call it out if you want to share that. Wolf, what's up? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Sorry I mistyped. No, you're all good. All good. So anyway, guys, I'm long. Like I talked about, this is going to be my only trade in these accounts for the day. I got 3 50Ks. I didn't take anything pre-market. I actually had something on NASDAQ that I just didn't get an order in for. This would have been the fill long. Yeah, I can swap over here without completely messing everything up. This would have been the long fill. This is completely mismarked chart. Right here would have been long. So 5 a.m., right? I'm waking up 5 a.m. We're looking at this start to form. I'd be long with a limit order down here with a nice wide stop. Would have ran all the way back up to VWAP and maybe generated a W, but I just didn't get it today. Didn't throw anything on. But so anyway, got accounts to trade, the 50Ks into Power Hour. We'll see what we get. First, this bad boy playing out. That's a nice view with the 15-minute chart. Clean this up. Sorry for making you guys dizzy. Nice. Got a little side-by-side going today. Choppy, though. Choppy so far, right? You know, if we look at this objectively, what do we got going on here? Here is our 9:30 open. You know, what the heck is this, right? You know, so far, now that we were coming back down and not just continuing, chopping back and forth, expansion, right? Sweeping highs, sweeping lows, back up to VWAP, pulling back down, chopping around, right? Not a clean trend to the upside like this, not a clean trend to the downside like this, right? Pretty much just choppy. Right around VWAP. So we'll see. We'll see if we get some motion to the upside on this bad boy. Oh, let's see. Let's see what we get. Ooh, we got Trump talking today. Hey, where's my my real-time squawk? Andrew, where you at, bro? We got Trump yapping later. I saw that on somebody's comments. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Could get some volatility later into today. Let's see. Let's see. What's up? What's up? Getting ready to get short. Send it. Ralph Short, send it. Send it, man. I think Ukraine, guys. Oh, no. There's Andrew Baggs. Yeah. I forget who it is. Somebody's always on. Like, as soon as someone starts talking, or they're just, like, shouting out fundamentals. I don't like that. That sucks. You know, like, it's not that. What's up, Kobe and Kick? What's going on? Nothing yet. Europe leaders meeting with him later. Yeah, it's not that the market's not going to do whatever it's going to do, right? It just can be tough to deal with some of that volatility, right? If they start talking, talking tariffs, talking, anything remotely geopolitical, which they will, that could be dicey. Yeah. Ukraine, Zelensky, Russia can only be forced into peace through strength. They're talking. This could get dicey, guys. I wouldn't do anything differently, right? And you can only. I don't use that within my trading. It's just helpful to be aware of that. Like, now that I know that's going on, if at any point we see a just straight up, murder candle to the downside or a pump to the upside, that's probably what's going on. Let's just see if Financial Juice has anything on it. Yeah. So it's at 12. There you go. They're saying 12 p.m. European leaders arrive at the White House. 1 o'clock, Trump greets Zelensky. Trump and Zelensky meeting. 2:15 p.m. Trump greets European leaders. And then meeting at 3 p.m. So into the afternoon, we could really see some volatility, right? Again, does that mean you should trade or not trade? Does it mean you should go long or short? Like, none of that stuff is how I utilize this fundamental piece of the market. I just like to pay attention to when that is, so I can expect a potential increase in volatility, right? And that might mean widening out stops and targets. It might mean closing out of something, just depending on where the position is. It might mean being a little bit more cautious leading into that. Like, we could really just see chop into this. Now that I'm a little bit more aware of that, we could just see chop into it. I gotta check Financial Juice more often because Forex Factory is solid for all the red folder stuff, but you don't get all like the little stuff. And in the past, like, I didn't care so much, but nowadays the little stuff almost affects it more. Like, anything with the U.S. administration, with Trump talking, that's like a red folder news event. It's like it's like a CPI or unemployment. It's like huge. So I might have to like check and subscribe to Financial News. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. To Financial Juice. I said Financial Juice. I said Financial News, not Financial Juice. Sorry, guys. Financial Juice, to clarify. Like the drinking juice. Market's clearly waiting for something. Yeah. Blah, it's going to be a bloody uptrend by the end of this day. I fly Trump's flag in my Canada. I don't know what he's saying. I'm unfortunately fading you, brother. Beauty, nothing yet. A couple of you guys said they're short. Ralph was getting short. Fast Money was getting ready to get short. Nate got short. Listen, Sunday, guys, right? So, first off, you could be short on a play that's like very different than mine, and we can both win, right? People say that, and I say that, and people are like, "What do you mean? How can someone, both win?" Well, maybe this is your short, right? and you catch a freaking banger down here, you catch a 1.5 to 1 trade, right? My stop's down here and my take profits up here, and the market does this, right? That could be beautiful for both of us. So that's what I mean when, there's more than one way to trade. It depends on what your thesis is, where your stops and targets going, how long you're planning on holding the trade, your sizing, all these different things. I like for buyers to continue to drag this thing above VWAP. I think a no news Monday could be a slow drift to the upside. Could also be a slow drift to the downside. But with that going on, like we just talked about some of that fundamentals, we could just be in for like a choppy sideways market, man. This could just do a whole lot of nothing. So we're coming up on initial balance. We're right back in the middle of VWAP. Like not a whole lot so far. We did get a nice bullish candle after sweeping prior day low. Looking at the 15-minute, we're trying to get back above VWAP, but here we are rejecting again. We start to come lower through this low, back through the 60s. That could be a little bit dicey. We'll see. This is nothing crazy, nothing to write home about yet. Gonna get ready to leave initial balance marked up. So far, if we don't come outside of this range at all, this would be our initial balance high and our initial balance low. Again, for maybe those that hopped on late, IB high and low is the first 1 hour trading range, right? There's a lot of different ranges that people look at, all the way from seconds to hours and multiple hours, right? Initial balance is a very common one. It's from 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 10:30 a.m. Eastern. So we will have to see. We'll have to see. But trades on, long from 64.66, stop all the way down nice and low. 19.5 points to be exact. Oh no, 20. Yeah, 20 points on the dot. I thought I actually moved it up. I dragged it around a little bit. For sure, will be perfect. Market's clearly waiting for something. Yeah. Again, guys, this is just choppy, right? No news Monday, and we have like the U.S. political administration speaking into the afternoon. Again, I'm making a note, like always room for improvement. I would have liked to have known that this morning, and that's just me not paying attention to Financial Juice or another site that's going to give me a little more information. Because if we're chopping at VWAP until those guys start yapping, like, is it really likely that the market rips to the upside or rips to the downside? No, not really. So, maybe I take that into consideration a little bit. But yeah, looking at Bookmap on this trade doesn't look bad. I'm a little bit cautious at the 480. So here's where we start to talk about targets. We start to talk about, trades moving in a direction. I got a real wide stop loss on this one, wanting to run for a larger move. Where is the fourth? That's way out here. So that's really not getting taken into consideration. This could be a problem. This area could be a problem, right? If we pop to the upside, we could just be grabbing these orders and then come right back down in and chop around into the afternoon. So I really wouldn't like to clip a winning trade early, but I'm going to have to watch if we come up towards the 480s. I'd have to take a look and see. Again, taking into consideration some information that I should have already had, which is, Trump, Zelensky, European leaders, a whole bunch of yapping going on under the U.S. administration on geopolitical stuff into the afternoon. That's likely to cause some volatility and maybe even more hesitation than we already have on a No News Monday in general. So I might be looking for less out of this trade. That's kind of the way that I'm reading this. But so far looks good, right? Found buyers off of this level here. Nice rising CVD. Everything pointing in the right direction. But I think this could start to be a problem, and the 480s might be a reasonable spot to take a look at grabbing some profit. Otherwise, I got a feeling that we do come back down, and this turns into an all-day hold, which is not bad. I'll diamond hand these all day. There we go. This is problem number 1. 480s are going to be problem number 2. So this is interesting. This is not our IB high yet, and it doesn't look like it's about to be. But this area could be a problem, could be an interesting spot. So I got to make a decision as we come up here. This is not enough for me. This is not enough for me. But I got to make a decision if we start to come up towards the 6480s. Do I not want to manage the trade at all, or do I want to grab profit here, anticipating that potentially we come back down, chop around, and then maybe we have volatility into the afternoon that changes direction or picks it up in the same direction? That's kind of the thought process as we start to push to the upside here. And I think that's probably what I'm going to have to do. Yeah, it's really not where I would like to take profit, but we'll see. We'll see what it looks like as we come up. But no complaints. Show me $450 of profit. Like I said, I'm hanging on to this one for now. Yeah, 480s is kind of just into the top end of this consolidation. That's plenty to say we just come back down and chop around and piss everybody off. So I might have to take that one. And note for today, everything's solid so far, but note for today is going to be check financial juice. check what Trump's YAP schedule is, and how that might affect the markets, because normal scheduled red folder news events are like not enough these days, just not enough. Sorry to you guys that got short on this one and faded me. I don't know that one would have played out too nicely. But that's that's just part of it. Beauty, let's see. We're talking earlier. Holding 4 micros now. Book profit at 64.74. Yeah, John's still calling out his trade from earlier. Nice. Grab profit, take profit. John, if you're talking about your own trade, I would send it, man. It's okay, I'm long now. Ralph's long. Smash the like button for our boy. 40 watching, quarter, hit the like button. Trading Dream Team, that's the real one. Smash the like button, chat. I know we've just been talking markets. We've been talking psychology, talking prop firms and stuff. Smash the like button, smash subscribe. I greatly appreciate it if you do. I'm live here almost every dang day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Yapping on YouTube. And here for 3 p.m. Eastern as well. More than happy to have you guys on. Feel free to hit like, hit subscribe. You don't have to do anything. Free means free, but it's always greatly appreciated. Let's see. I got 3 micros running long here. MNQ. People going long and short. I'm staying left. Not changing the position. I feel that. Help the man out. Nice trade. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, right? I'm hanging on to this one. This isn't enough for me, right? Relative to the risk, if I took every trade off at $400 in profit with $1,000 stop loss, $900 some odd stop loss, I'm going to end up with a very negative risk to reward, right? Excuse me. Very negative risk to reward. So not enough for me. 480s, maybe. 480s would be an interesting spot up around that level. I don't love this reaction that we're getting from up here after sweeping the high. Could be a move back down through VWAP. CVD did drop off after getting nice and positive here. So we definitely got heavy sellers stepping in here. But not enough. If I have to take a full L on this one, I will. There's, that's part of the approach. Any advice on holding winners? I've been at this game 10 years, off and on, and these emotions never get easier. But I become more aware, but never get easier. Great levels to the left of your TP. There are reasons I like micros with share size ability to sell half and reload. Sure. Yeah, man. So everyone's going to find a different challenging point, right? Maybe it's holding winners, maybe it's cutting your day when you're, clearly just red on the day. Could be a number of different things. If you're struggling to hold winners, that's the natural human reaction, right? Most of us just struggle to hold winners. For some reason, that seems to be a stronger suit for me and less of a problem. Like you're about to watch today, I'll hold this bad boy to 450 every day and come back all the way to all the way to stop loss if I have to, because I understand. I've done that. I've done the opposite too many times. I've clipped too many winners a third of the way towards a take profit. And I recognize that it's going to generate a nice positive win rate, but it's not going to do anything for me in the long run. So if you're struggling with it, I try to reflect on why, and then I try to put parameters in place to help you out do that. Moving things in the right direction, help you out move things in the right direction. I'd look at, number one, just setting and forgetting. I'd literally, I would set it and forget it. I've been listening to more Al Brooks, and he calls it the Walmart trade. Put the trade on, set a take profit and set a stop loss, and go to Walmart, and then come back. What you'll notice if you do that is you take yourself out of the equation, obviously, but that's not really the big benefit. If you have an edge doing what you're doing, you'll watch what happens when you don't cut every winner short. You'll watch what happens when you allow your winning trades to run all the way into profit rather than clipping every winner short and allowing every stop loss to run all the way to the full stop loss, right? And you'll have that like realization through your data and go, wow, I am literally just hurting myself. So it becomes less painful, like you see me doing right now, holding this one into profit, and then all the way back to a stop loss if I have to. If I know in the long run that this is the wrong move, that clipping every trade at not even a 0.5 R is not going to help me in the long run if I'm going to hold every losing trade all the way to a stop loss, right? So I would force yourself to do that, Trading Dream Team. That's what I would do. I would literally force yourself to do it. I would set a fixed take profit and fixed stop loss. Majority of traders can't handle trade management at all. I'll go out on a limb and say that. Everybody but the most advanced. Everybody but the most advanced. It's just emotions come into play. As soon as the P&L starts flashing, we never get smarter after putting a trade on. We only get dumber, and almost nobody can handle it, right? So starting off with a fixed take profit, fixed stop loss is, I think, the smartest move. And if you find yourself mismanaging trades by clipping the winners, not being able to hold those winners, take yourself out of the equation. You have the option to do that. There's a risk, is a little bit of an inherent risk doing that, where you can't manage, like if something starts moving crazy or whatever it is. But if your rule or your game plan is to hold all the way to take profit and stop loss, you got nothing else to do. Leave the trade, set a alert for a take profit or stop loss getting hit, and then come back in, right? Afterwards, that's it. Watch how that plays out. Is it working well for you? Great. It will build the habit without you having to really build it yourself, which can be helpful. Which can be very helpful. So that's the thought process there, man. Like what's that? That's where I would go with it. That's the actual physical process that I would do. And then when you come back to the charts, you have to sit there, and the painful emotion that we often feel, which is, this profit's going to get taken away from me, right? It's not yours to begin with, really, but there's different ways to think about this, different ways to look at it. There's definitely different things to think about, but that's my thought process. I think a lot of traders struggle with holding their winning trades, right? But you have to think logically. You have to really think logically, right? What is my game plan? And then am I following that? And if you're not following that, just stop there and start following it. And now, if I'm following my game plan, but my game plan is to let every losing trade run all the way to a stop loss, and then I clip every winning trade early, you have the exact opposite recipe for making money. And honestly, that's one of the few reasons, but one of the most key reasons that most traders lose money so consistently. They're doing the exact opposite of what it takes to make money. Literally, in trade management, almost every trader starting out feels that emotion. Trade starts to move in their direction. They take $100. They go, oh man, Tuesday comes, right? Tomorrow, I'm on here with you guys. I do the same thing. Nice wide stop loss. I took $200. Okay, perfect. Wednesday comes, what happens? Okay, I take a full stop out, $1,000. Now I'm red. Thursday comes, okay, I got a nice winning trade, $300 this time. Friday comes, full stop out, $1,000. Like, you're doing the exact opposite of what you should be doing. So set your take profit, set your stop loss. Maybe start around a 1-to-1. This way, in completely random market conditions, less commissions, fees, spreads, other things that might eat into it. You're around break even, and then try to increase from there. But stop mismanaging your trades. Easier said than done. But make it easy for yourself as best you can. This thing got me twice. First short, then went up, and then looking down. Yeah, I feel that, Ralph. I feel that. Ralph, flip the mindset, and you'd be 100% right. Story of my life. Yeah, that's how it goes. Listen, that one piece, dude, that was. I'll tell you guys this, right? While we're hanging out watching the market, if you guys got questions, feel free to ask them. It's good conversation. I appreciate you guys hopping on as always. Feel free, hit like, hit subscribe. But here's a tough thing to realize if you're trading, right? I traded, obviously, like most of us. I lost money for a considerable amount of time, right? It wasn't until a couple years into my trading journey before I even started to grab some consistency and start to break even, so without consistently losing money. When I first started, I mean consistent straight shot to the downside, right? It was really painful when I had to realize that if I had just been flipping a coin and entering with a 1-to-1, I would have been way better off than doing what I was doing. All the technical analysis, all the trade management, all the hours spent. And even worse, if I had been doing the exact opposite, not in trade direction, and I want to be clear, not in where I'm entering and exiting with some precise, no. If I had just been doing the exact opposite in trade management, which was what we're talking about here, allowing all of the losses to be huge and cutting every trade really quickly as soon as it moves on my direction, I would have made a considerable amount of money. So when you come to that realization, you put your hand on that stove so many times and you keep getting burned, you start to change stuff. And maybe that means you struggle so much with it that you have to take yourself out of the equation first, right? And you have to, really take a look at trade management and risk management and structure of your trades first. You start to grab onto you start to lose less, right? As basic as that sounds, you start to lose a little bit less. You're still losing, but now it's not as dramatic. It's a little bit back and forth. And then, what do you know? You have a little bit of a win streak here, and you actually start to turn some things green. But step back, man. Step back from the analysis, the indicators, the which way the market's moving, the trend. And I know that's what we talk about on here because we're trading. But the basics first, man, which people are nowhere near, are the trade management, right? The risk management. Like this trade could turn into a loser, right? And I'll have multiple comments in the chat. You could have taken profit at $450. You could have locked up a green day, base hits, never let a winning trade turn into a loser, right? And guess what? If the trade ran after I clipped it at 375, hold your trades, hold your winning trades, let your winners run. There's axioms for both of this. But I know for me personally, not speaking for anybody else, for me personally, if I clip my winners early and I hold all the way to a stop loss, or I aggressively drag stop loss into profit and I constantly stop out winners at break even, over time, it's a losing recipe. Okay. Yes, I'll end up with a really high win rate. Yes, it'll look really good on paper and for people that only hop onto live streams once or two times because I'll be usually taking wins. But my big red days will be nasty and it will end up with a negative EV. So I know that doing what I'm doing right now, I will have to have the painful days of holding into small profit and then all the way back to a stop loss in the pursuit of holding all the way to a take profit, right? So, you have to come to terms with that. You have to come to terms with that. That's part of it. So. $140K in profits the last 8 months. Now the last 2 months have taken $0 struggling. First off, holy mackerel, dude. I'll try to stop cursing. I'm gonna read something to you guys. This is really funny. That's crazy, but I'm gonna digress for a second because I was about to curse, and I don't think cursing's a big deal. I think we're all adults. You should be an adult if you're here, and you really shouldn't be worried about cursing too much. But I have a wonderful, supportive Christian mother that I absolutely love to death, and I would die for. And she knows what I do, and she watches some of my stuff, right? And she texts me on Friday at 10 a.m. and I must have been cursing, or she watched something old that somebody sent her, right? Other people send her my stuff, and she wrote, "Hey Zach, I'm loving watching your videos. I don't like the F word though. Sad face." And that's all that she texted me on Friday. So for my mother, Mom, I love you. I'm gonna try to stop cursing. Shout out my mama. So holy crap, that's a lot of profit. It's a lot of profit, man. But I feel that. First off, trading conditions have absolutely been terrible. They've, in my humble opinion, these have been very difficult markets to trade. Even though we've been trading the upside, it's been very crazy. Trump stuff that we're talking about makes it very difficult to trade. Here we go. No continuation. Choppy back down to VWAP. But that said, if you are struggling with trade management, I would put some things in place. I would change some stuff up. Luca, I feel that, man, I'm doing worse than a coin flip, even though I'm analyzing, spending hours on the chart. I think my system could work, but I take a loss, and then based off my initial analysis, I talk myself out of taking further setups. There you go. So that's another execution error, right? Becoming more risk averse after a loss. It's an execution error. Today I took a short on NQ and lost. Same setup came again. I took it on ES and I won. Sticking to the analysis is hard. It is. It is very hard, right? One trade at a time. Next one doesn't affect the previous one. Fix that and you'll see some success. Absolutely, right? These are all different things. These are all mindset and psychology issues, right? That's what these are. This is not the edge itself. It's you have a good system and approach, or maybe you don't, but you can't even follow it to the extent that you need to follow it to find out if it will work or not work, right? So you have to fix execution errors. These all fall under execution errors, guys. And they all stem from psychology and mindset. Not doing what we should be doing based on the way that we're thinking, which is complex, right? It's kind of abstract, but that's the stuff that we got to focus on. You know, more analysis, more indicators, not going to help. Not going to help if you can't execute. So. Love you, Zach's mom. Keep us in line. Yeah, my mom keeps me in line. Nah, I got a good family. I can't complain about that, right? Not perfect. I don't think anybody's family is perfect, but I can't complain. I don't think anybody should. Trump plus all-time high is tough. Hell yeah. Heck yeah. My grandma's the same way. Killed it for 6 months. Now I'm struggling. Got a bad month to it. Yeah, it was definitely something I got to internalize. Yeah, guys. So, you know, like I just put a video out, right? It's kind of like a dramatic title and stuff. Part of this is continuing to analyze where stuff goes wrong, right? Where you could perform better, what you're doing, what's working, what's not working. It's really as simple as that. And you have to take those hard looks at yourself and your trading and what you're doing and identify what's working and what's not working. If you're not going to take the time to do that, you're going to really struggle to improve. So, you know, when you identify, which it sounds like both of you guys have, right? For Trading Dream Team, it's very simple. It's a common one. Holding winners. Holding on to winners. For Luca, it's another simple common one. Not wanting to take a follow-up trade. Becoming risk averse, whether that's a loss or a win. But you identify that area that will cause an execution error, right? Because had you not taken that second trade today, you'd be at an L. You would have watched that trade play out and be frustrated, right? You didn't take your setup when it presented itself. Try to figure out what it is, and then why am I doing that? What's the incorrect thinking, right? Is it that one trade is going to affect the next, like we just had in chat? It doesn't matter, right? We know that every trade is unique. Every movement in the market is unique. The market doesn't know about your P&L. It doesn't care about your last winning or losing trade. Take them as they present themselves, right? How are you going to do that? Challenge yourself to fix that. Write it out. Journal it. Review the times that you didn't do that. Understand, create that pain of doing the wrong thing, even though it feels like it's the right thing. And, challenge yourself to do what feels wrong in the pursuit of doing what is actually right on the charts. It's difficult, easier said than done, but, try to reflect on this stuff because again, this is a whole we're just yapping about psychology and mindset. almost 90% of what we see, right? 90% of what we see everybody talking about and doing is about strategy approach. Every question I get, not every, I got a great community and you guys are pretty mature about it and you're looking for this good stuff. When I post something on socials, the stuff that does best is the explanations of trading strategy. The questions that I get, majority of them are about trading strategy. You're looking for the answer in the wrong place and you stay stuck in this endless loop of constantly trying to fix the problem with the wrong tool, right? And most people know what the problem is. They don't want to, or they don't have the capacity yet to start to fix it, to start to really look there and try to correct it. But it's in your mind, man. In the words of Mark Douglas, what separates the consistently profitable traders from everybody else is not something that makes them smarter, some strategy, some indicator, some tool. It's how they think about trading. The best traders trade from a fearless mindset while not becoming reckless, right? It's this combination of trusting your strategy, having confidence in your approach, understanding the game of probabilities that we're playing here, how the markets are very random on the short term, consistent on the long term, and minimizing execution errors. But again, you need an edge. It's not all mindset. You need an edge, but you can't ever execute an edge or even find out if you have one if you can't execute, right? That's what it comes down to. So I hope this helps. Hope this helps, guys. Watching this market just straight up chop around VWAP. Am I VWAP on the wrong spot? We are rejecting here. We came up through highs. We're coming all the way back down. I really would like to see us not come down through these lows. We've dropped off again on CVD after finding some aggressive sellers right here. We got a break and retest of VWAP. This is not looking good on the short term. I really do not like the way that this one is setting up right here, but stop is where it needs to be. I'm going to trust this one. I'm going to allow it to come all the way down here, test the 50s if I have to, get stopped out in the pursuit of this trade playing out to the upside. But this does not look great from here, right? Does not look great from here. Looks like we want to break IB low to the downside. When we do that, like I just said, if we do that, we don't often double break. We often don't come all the way back and break through the IB high, which is what I would need to generate a winning trade. So I'd be trading against that statistic. It's not the only thing that I utilize in my trading. So it's not enough to say, okay, well, we're out of the trade. We're done. That's the comments here. But overall, as we come lower, obviously not looking good, right? Right down here to the 62s. This is where I say not looking good. Not looking good. So, let's see. No, it's all about playing smartly. Yeah. Risk management, right? Trade management, all that fun stuff. Check out the 1 hour and 4 hour time frame with larger moving averages. Studies long enough with the 50 and the 200 major time frames. I think it'll bounce. Might wick test, shouldn't dump. Yeah. Take profit when you see it, then play for the next trade. I don't know that I fully subscribe to that, John, but I think it can be helpful to take base hits. There's what people call a see profit, take profit market. Not looking for some aggressive R multiple, but there's a balance. There's a balance for sure. You handle your emotions so good, brother. I'd be losing my shit. Laugh myself. No, man. I don't know, man. You trade for long enough. Here's the thing, guys. Here's where I think some of it comes from, right? Here's where I think some of it comes from. It's not a carelessness. It's not a desire not to win. That I don't want to take a stop loss, where I'm not going to be, unhappy taking a stop loss. Like I don't want to lose, right? I don't want to come on here and take an L. I don't have a ton of room in these accounts, right? I really don't. And I don't want to lose them. But I understand, the randomness of the market in the short term. I understand that one trade is not going to make or break me. It's a large, sample size of trades that I try to look in a series of trades perspective. And, I think you trade for long enough, you take enough of these wins and losses and you start to recognize that. You can recognize it earlier. You can recognize it earlier. You can read the books. You can really reflect on it. But the other side of that is just trading for long enough and going, I don't know what's going to happen next, and I don't need to make money. And I know that I'm going to take losses. I have to show up and take L's, right? Got to let your trades play out. So that's where it comes from, man. That's where it comes from. Let's see. So we cracked IB low. We are coming back into it, coming back up into VWAP. Is this going to be a gnarly retest of VWAP and then we sell off? It certainly could be. Certainly could be. So far, this is choppy, really directionless, just expansion. And I would assume a lot of traders have gotten cooked today. I think with this type of barcoding price action on the 15-minute and this type of expansion, rangy expansion, right? We talked about that on Friday. I think this is where we see a lot of blown accounts from short-term traders that are buying and selling breakouts and getting absolutely cooked, okay? For me, I might get absolutely cooked on one trade, but it's not absolutely cooked, right? Risk managed, I take one L, so be it. If we come back through VWAP, hold above, and go break IB high, I really like this long. If we reject here, back up in this area of high volume where my entry is, we come back down through this short, I really don't like this at all. Guess what I'm going to do? Nothing. No trade management for me on this, all the way up until, like I said earlier, the same area that I'm watching to the upside. Around the 80s, maybe 90s, around that overnight high. That's the trade thesis. That's the trade management. For me, in my trades, I find, and this only comes from reviewing your data, doing anything with a stop loss before I'm about ready to take profit is not helpful for me, personally. Dragging stop loss to break even does not help me on these trades, on this style of trading, on this approach. But for the most part, does not help me. Cutting a loser short when I think it's going to sell off, like had I cut this right here for $350, I'd be pretty pissed that we're back at break even. Okay. That just comes from reviewing your data. You might have the exact opposite. You might say stop loss to break even is clean for me. It helps me. I save myself far more stop outs than trades that come all the way back in my direction. You might say clipping every loser very quickly might help you, review your data. But I have to trust my data and then trade my system. And maybe that's all we're going to get today as this market just chops around on this live stream, is watching somebody put a trade on, right? Having it move in their favor, have it move all the way against them, and not do anything and just chill out and, not do anything crazy and just let the effing trade work. I won't curse. Sorry, Mom. But yeah, so that's the thought process. 2 micros running short. Nice. One more test lower. And then we bounced for a new high of day. Stopped out for the day. I'm locking up shop. Enjoy the day. Yo, I appreciate you calling out and sharing everything, man. Trading Dream Team. Thanks for being on here, man. I really do. Here's again, like I just said, this comes back through IB high. We get back up above VWAP. We start closing above here and drifting higher. I like this long. I really like this long. We come back down through this low. We aggressively reject here. If we do this right now, if we absolutely reject here and we flip this into a really big bearish 15-minute bar instead of a beautiful bullish 15-minute bar, and this is a gnarly breakdown retest, and then we continue lower, that looks like we're getting smoked to the downside, and shorts could be in play back down through these 50s. So we got decision making point here. We could just continue to chop. We could just do this. So we'll see. Like I said, nothing for me so far as trade management. There's really not much for me to do besides take profit on these types of trades. That's it. Set it and forget it, or take profit. No stop loss to break even. Like what would out of the 8 out of 10 trades, what are the 2 where I am going to do something? We get an insane amount of volatility that comes into the market from some unexpected news event. All of a sudden the market starts ripping or going crazy wicks start to form, and we find out war is breaking out in a country that we, whatever, or there's a tsunami, or, I'm like, okay, I don't need to ride out this volatility. I'm done. Let me just get out of this, right? Trump says something, it rips really quickly and then starts to pull all the way back. I go, okay, you know what? Out for break even. now this is a completely different piece of market generated information. But for the most part, right? I don't like to put myself into a complete box. So, for the most part. Let's see. Let's see what we get here, man. I'm gonna hang out for a little while longer with you guys. If you hopped in at any point, the initial trade on this, the initial trade entry was here. Right? If you hopped on late, initial trade entry is here. Nice and wide stop loss all the way down through the 50s. Looking for a continuation back above VWAP. Knowing now what I know now, which I didn't when I entered, that we got Trump, Zelensky, European leaders speaking. Maybe I would have handled this a little bit differently. I like this for a move all the way back up above the mid 80s into 90s. But we got quite a bit of liquidity up here. I think this could be a dicey spot. So I'd consider looking at profit, which wouldn't be a banger trade around the 80s. I'd have to see what happens as we come up here. Take a look at Bookmap. But moved into profit, moved back down, back into profit, back down, back up to VWAP. This is just VWAP chop. Overall, objectively, if I look at this, sure, I'd like to say we got a nice uptrend ready to break out. This is VWAP chop. This is just garbage. Bunch of garbage. So it is what it is. This looked really nice to the upside here after sweeping prior day low. Back down, chopping around. Wide stop is in place. Maybe we find buyers out of this area. We swept IB low. We came right back into VWAP. Again, that stat for breaking IB low is not great. I'm not trading against it where we don't go and break IB high, which I need to happen for a breakout. For a win. But if we break and then we come right back in and we extend to the upside, or we just don't, start to close outside here, price isn't outside of this really for a long period of time at all, that's a good indication that we could continue to push to the upside. Again, pattern recognition. There's narratives behind that, right? The whole auction theory. But just for pattern recognition, talking about it in a dumb guy way, the way that I talk about everything. So. Thanks for the stream. Great stream today. Grateful Trader is Dream Team. Now I know who I'm talking about. Edgeful Data. Yeah. I used to work with Edgeful. Not work for them. I used to be partnered with Edgeful. I think it's helpful. You can get that data just looking at the chart, but if you want to pay for a service to get a lot of good data, I'd still say it's solid stuff. Edgeful is the name of a company that does that, and essentially you get a bunch of reports that give you different levels and then percentages based on what happens, right? That's a helpful one for sure. This choppy market. Choppy market. Oh, excuse me. Chat. I think I'm just going to let this one run. So, if I was a 15-minute chart only trader, I'd like that. Again, we come back down through this low without breaking IB high. This is going to look ugly, but I'm letting this bad boy run. Since I am going to step away after this live, I got to throw a take profit in here. If I had to throw something fixed on, I usually just throw a 1-to-1. Call it a day. I'm probably not, again, Zelensky, all those guys talking, that could be dicey. I like this for a run to the upside. I don't like to not have a take profit in there, at a reasonable level. But I'm going to have to see what happens as we come up here. I'm not exactly sure that I would let it run all the way through the 85s above overnight high. But if we start to come up to that level, I'd want to pay attention to it. I'm not sure that I would completely take profit here, right? Maybe maybe I'm watching the chart. It looks really good. But if I'm going to step away even for a little bit, having a stop loss and take profit in place, I think, is just basic good trading. So on that note, guys, I'm going to end this one with a trade live running. I'll call out my management, or I will attempt to, in Discord. If you're not in the 100% free trading Discord, I will link it again. Here it is, chat. If I leave trades running, if I don't, if I don't take a trade live, maybe I'm taking something. I try to always give you guys the sauce, what I'm doing in Discord. I tag everybody. I try to be objective and clear about what the prices are that I'm talking about. Talk about sometimes bookmap in there, what we got going on, which is not looking too bad. So I'll try to let you know what happens with this one. If we just turn from here and dump, I'm likely taking a full stop out. If we pump, I'm likely taking a win. But I'll try to call out trade management. At very least, if we're cracking overnight high, this is a W. If we're cracking overnight high before we trade through the 40s all the way on a sell-off, this is going to be a W. But I'm going to diamond head this bad boy. We're going to hold on to it. That's, again, I talked about doing exactly what I did here today in my Discord. You can hop in there if you didn't check it out already. Go back on Friday when I wrote a damn monologue. You can summarize it if you want. It's not Chat GPT, it's me. I talked about, widening out for specific reasons, and we'll see how this starts to play. So anyway, guys, appreciate you hopping on here. I'll be back for Power Hour, 3 p.m. Eastern, live here trading again. Maybe I'll still be in the same trade. I don't know. We'll have to find out. But I will talk to you guys then. Appreciate you. Hope to see you in Discord. Quick disclaimer again. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Nothing I say or do is a suggestion or recommendation to do anything at all. Trading's very risky. Most traders lose money. Do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even if funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links and codes in my content. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks for hopping on. Yassine might have to hop on for that later, my brother. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks, Ralph. Thanks, everybody.